G'day guys and gal. The Horus Heresy was a pretty chaotic time. Half the galaxy turning on each other can be a bit confusing. Many Space Marines only found out about their Primarch and Legion betraying the Emperor halfway through the Heresy, as there were thousands of Space Marines from various legions scattered around, either garrisoning worlds, scouting, or on special missions. Many of these guys were not super down with the whole traitor vibe. However, since they were now technically enemies of the Imperium due to their Legion, they found a solution: scrubbing their armor clean of insignia and painting it black, more or less renouncing their Legion. This also went both ways, with some loyalists becoming a black shield in order to fight for the traitors. Overall, it's super interesting but also kind of confusing, so definitely worth talking about. Also, yes, I am now blonde. I thought I would, give it a whirl. Hopefully it ends up being more of a Sanguinius vibe and less of a Fulgrim vibe, but we will see. I'm getting it cut to most, so that should make me look less like a German villain. An unforeseen side effect is that my pre-recorded sponsored segments are about to look a lot less seamless. For example, before we get started, I've never been much of a mobile gamer, but I still have a couple on the go for when I'm traveling around and don't just want to doom scroll Reddit. One of those games is today's sponsor, Bloodline Heroes of Lithis. I actually downloaded this game when Moist Critical promoted it on his channel, and I was very impressed with how much content there actually is in the game. Sure, on one hand, it's a hero collector fantasy RPG with cool graphics and fun high-octane combat gameplay. I mean, just look at that. But more than that, it's also a dating shagging simulator, as you strategically make your heroes bone in order to create new, more powerful hybrids. You can even bone your own heroes to create an heir. Not sure how that works, the charging port isn't quite big enough, but hey, I'm not going to question a good thing. This isn't just some gimmicky side feature. There are over 1,000 potential hybrids that you can create and then bring into battle. So to get started with a great sign-up bonus, which includes 1 summoning crystal, 100k gold, and 100 diamonds, worth about $20, then use my link or scan the QR code on screen. Cheers to Bloodline Heroes of Lithis for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over the lore of the Black Shields, looking at their origins, how they evolved since the Heresy, and some of their more interesting moments. Also, once again, shout out to my artist Alex for commissioning this thumbnail. Some World Eater on World Eater action never goes astray. Full res version is on my Patreon for free. Let's get into it. The Black Shields isn't this common universal term coined by the Imperium to label traitors who remain loyal. Many Black Shields didn't even paint their armor black or change their heraldry, proudly displaying their Legion colors as they fought against their traitor brothers. For those traitor legions that had their colors or name changed by their Primarch, like the Dusk Raiders who became the Death Guard, those Black Shields would often change their armor and heraldry back into their original form, such as the Dusk Raiders. However, for those traitor Marines who were isolated or separated from their traitor kin but wanted to remain loyalist, they couldn't just continue to bear their Legion colors, as they would get killed on sight by any loyalist force. Rogel Dawn was infamously brutal with all Space Marines from traitor legions, sending them to hidden prisons and having many of them tortured to death. Only the ones handpicked by Malcador were allowed to remain loyalist and in action. So to avoid this fate, they painted their armor black and removed their insignia, coining the term Black Shield. Some of the notable Black Shields of the Heresy include the Death Eagles, a group of loyalist Emperor's children who fought against their slutty, drug-fucked traitor kin on numerous occasions during the Heresy, whilst continuing to bear the original purple and gold of their Legion. However, post-Heresy, due to all Emperor's children, both loyal and traitor, being killed on sight during the scouring by the vengeful loyalists, in order to continue existing, the Death Eagles painted their armor black, removed their heraldry, and then claimed Raven Guard heritage. Often, these Black Shield chapters were able to speak with the Inquisition or other Imperial bodies and plead their case. Thus, their history and records are deleted or edited to protect them. A number of other Loyalist chapters with traitor Geneseed have gone through this process, technically becoming Black Shields while doing so, although not to the same extent as the Space Marines that stayed within their black unmarked armor. Basically, they used the confusion of the end of the Heresy to slip into the new Imperium. Some other Black Shield examples didn't really think that far ahead, such as the Dark Brotherhood, a Black Shield warband that became renegades who targeted Alpha Legion forces, with some theories claiming it was a Dark Angel veteran leading a bunch of loyalist Alpha Legionnaires. But you could argue that these weren't true Black Shields, more so just loyalists from traitor legions that didn't want to get executed for having shit dads. The truest examples were the Astartes, who completely renounced their Legion and heritage and would then join the war at random. Loyalist Black Shields would pop in, say g'day to an Imperial commander, tell them what they were going to do to help, and then either die in battle or move on afterwards. They refused to discuss their origins or history. It would legit just be, "We're offering help." Take it or leave it. On the flip side, there were traitor marines from loyalist legions who also became black shields, attacking loyalists in unmarked black armor. Often these warriors were ones who had been convinced of the War Master's cause through the warrior lodges, and upon learning that their legion would remain loyalist, would leave it and become renegade. Virtually all black shields were people who had betrayed their legion, but not all people who had betrayed their legion were black shields, if that makes sense. Some of the heresy black shield battles include when a group of black shield Raven Guard attacked a loyalist colony and killed millions of civilians. Then there was a time a bunch of loyalist Sons of Horus black shields stole a bunch of super weapons and then used it to kill a bunch of traitor Sons of Horus. Another loyalist black shield force sabotaged a Nova cannon on a Death Guard vessel, causing it to blow back when it next tried to fire, whilst there has been sightings of warriors in defaced Night Lord's armor ambushing traitor forces. I might sound like I'm contradicting myself a bit with the definition of a black shield, but the point I'm trying to make is that there is no one size fits all or one exact definition of black shield. I mean, fuck, some black shield warbands began creating new Astartes using scavenged gene seed from multiple legions. Hence there was Chimera black shields who didn't even understand what the fuck the Horus Heresy even was. To try and make it a bit more clear, there were 4 distinct types of black shields, basically 4 different attitudes that determine the motive behind them. First there was the Death Seekers, Astartes who just wanted to fucking die whilst taking as many enemies as possible with them. This was mostly made up of loyalists from traitor legions who were ashamed and angry that their Primarch had betrayed the Emperor, so wanted to claw back some honor for their legion by murdering a shitload of traitors. However, a small section of the Death Seekers were newly created black shields who were mentally unstable due to the weird combo of gene seed and psycho-indoctrination they received in their rush implantation process. Then there was the Orphans of War. In a similar boat to the Death Seekers, however, instead of trying to die hero's death in battle, they sought to survive, watching each other's backs and fighting against the galaxy where they were considered to be traitors on both sides of the war. Then there was the Outlanders, warriors who looked at the heresy and said, fuck this shit, before renouncing all allegiances and traveling away from the war, acting as renegades who would fight or treat with both loyalists and traitors alike. Then there was the Chimerae that I discussed before, experimental new black shields who received multiple gene seed from different legions. Often this would kill them or make them insane, however on rare occasion it would make them a beast, absorbing the strengths from multiple legions. Some Black Shield warbands would play some fucking Bloodline Heroes of Lithus shit, deliberately mix and matching certain gene seed to try to create Super Astartes. It usually failed, but not always. With Black Shields being both loyalist, traitor, and somewhere in between, did they ever fight each other? Well, Black Shield lore is already obscure and confusing as fuck, so I haven't been able to find Black Shield vs Black Shield battles. However, I can imagine that they probably would have avoided each other since Black Shields were so rare and was never really clear exactly who they were loyal to until the shooting started. What became of the Black Shields after the heresy? After all, they were mostly just tolerated because they were bigger fish to fry. Well, it depends on the Black Shield warband. There were thousands of Black Shields. Some, like the Death Eagles, had their records sealed as they took up a new identity. Others traveled to the edge of the galaxy to live in exile. Others would have quietly joined other legions or loyalist chapters. The traitor ones would have fled into the Eye of Terror alongside the traitor legions. However, many of them actually ended up joining the Death Watch. See, the Death Watch operates on a different level to other Space Marine chapters. They literally have a no questions asked policy to join them, hence many Black Shields, their armor completely black and devoid of symbols, will travel to a Death Watch base, talk to the Watch Commander, and will then often be allowed to serve in the Death Watch. Some of these post-heresy Black Shields are uncorrupted loyalists from traitor legions. Some are loyalists who feel like they have failed in their duty so renounce their chapter. Others are Black Shields who survived the heresy and want to keep serving the Imperium on their own terms. Either way, these Black Shields are especially reckless, always happy to accept suicide missions or hold the line, whilst their new brothers escape to fight another day. Because it takes a shitload of willpower and strength of character to resist chaos when your chapter falls, or leave your own chapter if you feel you are unworthy, many Black Shields are absolute beasts. Night Warden Alric appears out of fucking nowhere, clobbering Necrons with his big ass power flail. Chaplain Vigilant is the literal Grim Reaper against the Tau, pulverizing their vagina heads with his Crozius, whilst others, like Hale or Janus, have interesting histories and have helped the Death Watch achieve extremely specific missions due to the knowledge they have gained from their dark pasts. People often ask if traitor Space Marines can ever be redeemed and rejoin the Imperium, and the answer is yes. So as long as they aren't corrupted by chaos, traitor Marines can rejoin the Imperium as a Black Shield of the Death Watch. Overall, the Black Shields are a niche but interesting part of the lore, making the Heresy feel like a living, realistic thing full of interesting warriors making individual choices, and how they deal with the devastating consequences of those choices. If you enjoy the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, where there's not only a boatload of Battle Mace 40 million hentai, but also a bunch of live action nude cosplays. Hit the subscribe button and hit the real subscribe button for more black content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.